Welcome to the California High School Exit Exam in Math portion of www.happynumbers.org. We are dealing with the strand which is called number sense. Remember there are I think 5 or 6 different strands. One is measurement and geometry and others algebra, but this one is called number sense. And the skill that we're going to deal with today is changing fractions to decimals. There is also a video on www.happynumbers.org under video events under the fraction section that will deal with this same concept also. So you may want to watch that also. This is a critical skill to know for the high school exit exam or for mathematics in general. There may be 1 or 2 questions actually on the exam that ask you specifically to change this fraction into a decimal, but 13% of the questions require this skill to help you get the solution to some answers. So this skill is involved in about 13% of the questions on the high school exit exam. So let's take a look at it. It's a fairly simple skill. Again, you'll have to know how to do long division. Okay, a prerequisite skill about fractions. A fraction has a numerator or a top part. It has a division line, which actually means divided by, and it has a denominator or a bottom part. This fraction actually means 3 divided by 4. That's what it means. Now, to change any fraction into a decimal, all we do is we divide the top part by the bottom part. Here, we would divide 3 by 4, and we would get a decimal. Let's take a look at example. Change 1/2 into a decimal. We divide 1 by 2. So we can't divide 2 into 1, so we put a decimal point and 2 zeros to hold the place there, and we put our decimal point up in our answer. Now 2 goes into 1 0 times, so 0 goes there. But 2 can go into 10, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10, and we subtract and we get 0. So our answer, if we change 1/2 into a decimal, we get 5/10 or 0.5. 5/10 is 1/2 in decimal form. Very simple. Let's take a look at this one. Change 3/8 into a decimal. Well, to change any fraction into a decimal, divide the top part by the bottom part. So we're going to divide 3 by 8. So we set up our problem. We have to put a decimal and a couple of zeros because 8 cannot go into 3. 8 is too big. So 8 goes into 3 0 times, but 8 can go into 30. 8 goes into 30 3 times. Notice we put our decimal point right above up in the answer. It's right above where it was in the problem. So 8 goes into 30 3 times. Now we multiply. 3 times 8 is 24. We subtract 24 from 30 and we get 6, and we bring down our 0. Now 8 goes into 60 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56. We subtract, we get 4. We bring down another 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40, and we subtract and we get 0. So if we change 3/8 into a decimal, we divide the top part 3 by the bottom part 8, and we get 375 thousandths. That's this decimal fraction, 375 thousandths, or 0.375. Again, you will have to know how to do long division and long division using decimals also. And on the video events section of www.happynumbers.org, under decimals, there is a part of dividing by decimals, and you may want to review that if you don't know this skill. Let's go to some other problems. Tristan has completed answers to 5/8 of the questions assigned in his social studies class. What decimal portion has he completed? Okay, now this is very typical of the type of problem you'll get on the high school exit exam. Tristan has completed 5/8 of the questions assigned in his social studies class. What decimal portion has he completed? Well, let's analyze this problem. He's completed 5/8 of the problem. Tristan has completed 5/8 of the problem. 5/8 is a fraction, but the problem asks for a decimal portion. Therefore, we convert the fraction 5/8 into a decimal. To convert a fraction to a decimal, divide the top by the bottom. So here we will be dividing 5 by 8. So we have to put 5, decimal, and some zeros. And we put the decimal in our answer right above where we're in the problem. Now, 8 cannot go into 5s. It's too big, so we put 0. But 8 can go into 50. And 8 can go into 50 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. And we subtract and we get 2. We bring down a 0, now that gives us 20. 8 can go into 20 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. We subtract 16 from 20 and we get 4. We bring down a 0. We have 40 now. 8 can go into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. We subtract 0, so we're done. So to convert the fraction 5/8 into a decimal, we divide the top part 5 by the bottom part 8, and we get 625 thousandths. That's how we read this in decimals. 625 thousandths, or 0.625. All right, good. Another problem. Anna completed 4/5 of her math homework problems. What decimal portion did she complete? Let's analyze this problem. She has completed 4/5 of her homework problems. 4/5 is a fraction, but the problem asks for a decimal portion. Therefore, we convert the fraction 4/5 into a decimal. To convert a fraction to a decimal, divide the top by the bottom. Let's take a look. We have 4, and we'll put a decimal and a 0, and we'll put our decimal up in our answer here. Now, 5 cannot go into 4, it's too big, so it goes 0 times, but 5 can go into 40. And 5 can go into 40 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40, and we subtract and we get 0. So when we convert 4/5 into a decimal fraction, we get 8/10. 8/10. Excellent. Okay, here are a series of problems for you to do. Change the following fractions to decimals. So get yourself a piece of paper or in your notebook. Put your DVD or the video on pause, work these problems, and then we will take a look at them. Go ahead and pause. Okay, let's see how you do. To change 3/4 into a decimal, we would divide the top 3 by 4, and we should get 75 hundredths. And by the way, this 0, you do not have to put this 0 in front. Traditionally it's put there, but it's not necessary. Here, 2/3, we would divide the top 2 by 3, and you should get 0.33. Actually, it would be 0.33333333 and on forever. So we generally stop after the second decimal place. So 33 hundredths would be the answer. 1/5, if we change that into a decimal, we get 20 hundredths. or 0.20. And 2/9, if we change that to a decimal, we divide 2 by 9 and we get 0.22, and we stop after the second decimal, because this would go on and on and on, but we just stop after the second decimal place. Well, okay, that's the skill. To change any fraction into a decimal, you divide the top part, or the numerator, by the bottom part. Again, you will have to know how to do long division, and you will have to know how to do long division using decimals. And there are videos under the video events part of www.happynumbers.org. Thank you very much. See you next time.